How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the Ultimate Game Room. This is your host and creator, Jason Dixon, logging on. And happy 4th of July! Now, about over 10 years ago, I did a review on a movie-based game on the NES, Jaws, which was loosely based off the 4th installment, Jaws Revenge. And this episode's not only a revisit, it's also an update. So please do stick around and enjoy. Jaws NES game was released in 1987, developed by Westone and published by LJN. And I also mentioned that the game was not great, but it was not bad either. And I always had a soft side for the game. In fact, I like the game more now than I did before. As a matter of fact, I like the game better than I do the last two Jaws films. You know, Jaws in 3D and Jaws Revenge. Jaws 2 was a decent movie in its own ways, but the only movie that exists the most out of all is the classic 1975 film from Steven Spielberg. The music score for the NES game was really good, including the 8-bit rendition of the John Williams theme. Sounds like the shark is about to creep up on ya. When I did that review, I used the Game Genie to get through the game pretty fast, which caused me to miss out on the full experience and details. Probably because I was being more sarcastic with the game back then, when I used to be the Ultramaniac gamer. But sarcasm is out of the question this time. And on the latest playthrough, I went through the game and used save states and the rewind feature. You start out with 3 lives, which extra lives can be also earned. But if you lose all your lives, then it's game over. No continues. And if you lose a life, you also get downgraded too. And here's also another inconvenient moment. When you're down at the bottom of the sea, especially when you're trying to collect currency, a jellyfish will float out from the bottom to get you out of nowhere. Or if you're on the left or right side of the screen, a stingray will come up. Well, sometimes sarcasm can't be deserved in some parts, like that part alone. No continues, limit continues. Ah! I'm gonna get my money's worth for the full price that I paid. Okay. I'm assuming you're one of Chief Brody's sons, if not Chief Brody himself, taking on a dangerous task as before on a midi island. Well, I believe it's on the midi island. I don't remember where Jaws Revenge takes place, to be exact. All I remember is the ending, of course, of how Jaws was destroyed. Same way as in this game. Which is understandable because Jaws Revenge was actually the new movie at the time when this game came out. What's the main goal? Well, you guessed it, kill Jaws, which is actually not simple. Of course it's not simple. Because you have to level up and upgrade, starting off by killing smaller sea creatures like jellyfishes, stingrays, and regular-sized sharks, plus collecting crabs and starfishes for points, but more importantly, the seashells, which the seashells is your currency, which are also crucial to your survival, as well as points. And you're going to need the shells to use for upgrades by going to each of the 2 decks back and forth. And it gets repetitive time to time. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Hurry up. What's also annoying is when you're in the boat on the sea, you randomly hit something that you never see. And you always have to get off the boat and go underwater, and stay underwater until you deal with these sea creatures. Sure, dealing with these sea creatures as well as collecting seashells for currency, as well as getting crabs and starfishes for leveling up points. But time to time you constantly do that when you try to get to a dock. And that does test my patience. However, the only thing that does show up on the overview map is the Jaws fin. Every once in a while, a bonus stage comes along where you control a seaplane over the sea, shoot at jellyfishes to earn extra seashells. The bonus stage is kinda like Galaga, except it's not as good as the game Galaga itself. I also mentioned in my old review that you couldn't control the plane, which I was wrong. You press the left to slow down, or you press the right to speed up, or vice versa, depending on what direction your plane is headed. You will also come across a submarine at some point in the game, which is powerful, though it looks smaller than the scuba diver himself. But the submarine does shoot more rapidly, as well as the submarine can use cannonballs. But if your submarine gets hit by anything, you lose your submarine. So in that case, the submarine is kind of like a one-hit armor. But at least not all is lost. You can still find another submarine on the island. Now when it comes to Jaws, known as the Great White. Jaws has its own health meter, and you have to wear the Great White down till the last hit point. And it's recommended to be fully upgraded before trying to even drain Jaws, before finishing him off, which the highest upgrade level is 9. The more your character is upgraded, the more quicker to drain Jaws. And another way to drain Jaws quicker is when you're on the boat above the sea, you can use your cannonballs to drain him until your boat gets hit, of course. But of course the cannonballs from the boat only works when you encounter Jaws. After you drain the Great White's health meter at any point, the Great White can replenish its health if you don't stay on him. And after you fully drain Jaws' health meter, your final task is to penetrate the spike of the boat, known as the strobe, into the shark and kill him. You have 3 tries. If you fail, you have to drain the shark's health all over again. Which, if your character is completely upgraded, you can purchase extra strobes with seashells. That way you'll have more strobes than 3 when you're ready to deliver the final blow. And once you deliver that spike into the Great White properly, then you defeat Jaws. The end. And all that you accomplish at the end is a beautiful postcard of the scenery. finally over. Or perhaps not. Now, to get straight to the point, I revisited the NES game and went through every little detail I possibly know this time without using the stupid Game Genie to go through it, even though the game cheats itself at times. But with a lot of practice, it can be easier, to be honest. Though this time I played it a little differently, though. Now, to get straight to the point, why am I talking about this game? Well, like I said, it's the 4th of July, and the first movie is set around that time, so that kind of makes sense. But here's a big reason I revisited this one. Because there was an updated version of this game. Jaws Retro Edition.
We need a bigger boat!
Jaws Retro Edition by Limited Run Games that uses the Carbon engine like they did for the Jurassic Park Classic Game Collection. Yeah, 2 Steven Spielberg films based, and both done by Universal Pictures. But the Jurassic Park Classic Game Collection was just a compilation of all the Jurassic Park games from the 8-bit and 16-bit and portable, even though it's missing some games from that era, but still a decent collection. But Jaws Retro Edition is just one game, except they actually arranged that one game, plus included the original. Unfortunately, I missed out on the physical editions from Limited Run, like for the Switch. And by the way, I was replaying the original version off of this Retro Edition. I'm pretty sure some of you already noticed that, because I already said I was going to use the rewind and save and load state feature. But I recently gotten the game on Steam for the asking price of $15. Now, for an old game that was a mixed bag in the past, for an asking price of $15, was that a smart move or was that a dumb move? Well, I'll answer that question later. The Jaws Retro Edition is available digitally on Steam, Switch, and PS4 or 5. Like I said, I got mine on Steam and I'm going to be playing the Steam version. What does this Retro Edition have to offer? Well, a brand new Enhanced Edition as well as the original version, which I was replaying the original version off this collection. Both versions have a rewind feature in the save and load state, but no autosave unfortunately, but that's okay. This Retro Edition also has custom screen resolutions and wallpapers, but I decided to choose the full screen resolution for this game. Plus it also has bonus gallery and a music player. Nice! Since I already made everything that I know about the original game that was on the NES clear, now let's check out this newly enhanced edition of Jaws. What kind of tricks does Limited Run Games have up its sleeves this time? Well, surprisingly, they have quite a few surprises. Let's just start the Enhanced Edition, and I'll show you what I mean. The Enhanced Edition is still the NES game, but it's more expanded than the original. After you start the game, you are given a mission briefing, though it didn't give you enough time to read it, unless if you're a fast enough reader. Which the mission briefing was something that the original didn't give us. Then after the briefing, the game will start you off on the deck. Also something the original didn't do, but then again there's a lot of things that the original didn't do in this game. Yeah, you'll start off on the dock with $50 in your possession. And on the dock you can visit 3 places. The Beach Cafe where you can do your character upgrades for power, energy, and speed. Because you will totally need to upgrade your character for this adventure. And the other 2 places at the dock. You definitely want to visit time to time, though. Well, frequently because these are task givers. They'll give you certain tasks, find a certain item, so they'll do different types of upgrades for you, like for weapons, and etc. Then you're on the small world map on the sea. And you can now see things floating up on the surface. So far, this game's already improving. They kind of look like cookie cutters, like they used on the world map in Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. Well, regardless, at least the map does look more self-explanatory than they did before, since you know you're hitting something or about to hit something. And if you do hit something, and if you go underwater, you also now have an option of getting out at times. The new edition does not rely on the 3+ life system, or one-hit death like in the old edition, since you now have an energy meter. Plus, in the new edition, they also did away with the points and shell currency system and replaced both with money as the currency and score system. It's just money. However, you can still get seashells for money, as well as killing hostile sea creatures to earn money. And it's just a simple concept. Money. And speaking of seashells, they added a new seashell which was outlined in red, and unlike the regular seashells will go at the bottom, these type of seashells float up on top of the sea. Those type of seashells are to replenish your health, if needed. You can also refill your health all the way once you upgrade your energy, or if you upgrade your energy to the max, you can refill your energy at the dock for $1,000. And if you die in this edition, you can start back at the dock. Doesn't seem like you got downgraded or face any consequences if you die. But you can also save and load game as well as rewind. And these sea creatures got their own health meter, as well as the name above them. I guess another name for these stingrays or manatas. So far, I'm already impressed with this new edition. But not too long after I noticed some good changes, I also noticed a few things that are absent in this edition from the original. By far, that is. Like the bonus seaplane missions, crabs and starfishes, submarine, nowhere to be found. I also remember the original game where you can go between the two docks. The dock on the right is closed for some reason, so there's no access to that dock. Just the dock on the left. Now what the hell's going on? There's gotta be an answer somewhere. Here's the funny thing, I was already upgraded to the max, and I was all ready to take on Jaws. This early. Huh. Well, let the Great White have it. Wait a minute. So, this was only phase 1. What? A password? What the hell? The original game didn't even have the password system. But this enhanced edition does? And why the hell would I need a password if I can just save or load, let alone rewind? Well, I guess they put the password in each phase as a joke, because the Jaws game in general doesn't have a password system. So I don't know what the point there was. Probably put in there as a joke. Anyway, that turned out to be phase 1 all along. And we're going to need a bigger boat because each of the following phases are going to be more difficult as you further go. Yeah, I knew something was up alright. So I guess that answers my question about why the lack of things that were in the original. Because this is the enhanced edition, and that was only phase 1. Now I have to admit, that was pretty clever on the behalf of limited run games. I mean, not only on how they enhanced the game, but they also expanded the game. Now moving on. Now, each phase takes place some years later, because the shark keeps coming back here and there, kind of like with its sequels. And each phase you'll have to upgrade all around from the bottom. Yes, you have to start over from level 1. But in phase 2, you start out with $2,000, which was the limit in phase 1. But each phase increases its limit, as well as its upgrades. And here's the catch. All the sea creatures, including Jaws itself, also upgraded. Meaning they're going to be more tougher, powerful, and faster. At every beginning of each phase, you're going to start out weak. Now, since the Enhanced Edition of Jaws just came out, this is where I'm going to actually draw the line. The Enhanced Edition has everything from the original, except they changed a few things to make the game more appealing than ever. And I don't really want to spoil much any further. Since I paid full price for this game, you can do that as well, or wait until it goes on sale. To me, this Enhanced Edition of Jaws is fully worth the price. So to answer the question from earlier, it was definitely not a dumb move, and I don't regret paying $15 for this upgrade. I always had a soft side for the original NES game. The original NES game may not be great. At least limited run games made the game even better with this Enhanced Edition. It was also nice that they added the original as part of the project as well. Plus, younger gamers also need to know what the original NES game was like. So I give tons of credit to limited run games for their work on revamping of the classic NES movie-based game. Though it's such a shame that I missed out on getting a physical copy of the game, but if I get another chance, I'll definitely get it on Switch. That was Jaws on the NES again, or should I say the Retro Edition, which was the Enhanced Edition and the original NES version together. Now, I'm also aware that there was another Jaws game that also deserves better treatment. 2004's Jaws Unleashed, that was originally released on the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 consoles as well as the PC. Well, hopefully Night Dive Studios can get the rights to that one. And if a remastered version of Jaws Unleashed comes around, then we're definitely gonna need a bigger boat. Well, thank you all very much for watching, and once again, happy 4th of July. I think I'm going to try to catch me a great white myself.
Say hello to my little friend, you son of a bitch! Glad that's over.
This is Dixon of the Ultimate Gaming Realm, logging off.